Hello everyone and welcome. I'm Kiv, your favorite degenerate, and today I wanted to talk about Halo Infinite, its customization, and how does it all work? What system are they going to have which is going to piece it all together? Do you actually have a credit system like what we had in Halo Reach, or are we going to have, like Halo 5, just random luck? And as you can tell from my voice, that's another thing about Halo 5 I was not a fan of. But let's put a pin in that, and let's not turn this into a rant on Halo 5. Let's focus on the hope for the future, Halo Infinite. Now, a lot of us already know that MCC Season 6 is pretty much a trial run for Infinite, and with this season there's a couple of things that I really like, with the perfect example being that you can actually purchase stuff on an in-game store using only in-game currency, no real-world money. I'm a big fan of this because it means that your hard work is actually worth something, because let's say that you spend a couple hours in-game working hard to get a piece of armor by doing a challenge, and then some kid gets his mom's credit card and then he just buys the armor later on. That's something that's really wrong with modern day gaming, and I'm really glad that we probably won't be seeing that. But now let's talk about how Halo Infinite's customization will probably work. So the general trend for Halo games in the past is that you have an overall Spartan rank that you are going to get experience for by just doing anything in the game. Campaign, multiplayer, whatever it is, you're gonna start earning some kind of experience, and it's gonna be slowly getting you through the individual levels for your personal Spartan. Halo 5 being a little bit different with the loot boxes and everything, but generally I would expect something similar for Halo Infinite, a overall rank, and then as you go through those ranks you're gonna have more access to more armors. This is just my own theory, but I happen to think that we have an armory hub for players in Halo Infinite, and we've seen images of weapons already, and they all happen to be in the same location with the same Spartan looking at all of them. Now, I mentioned this in my armory video, but my theory is that the seamless transitions that have been mentioned previously in the Halo Infinite campaign for cutscenes, the same idea is going to apply to the menus. So instead of flicking through different menu screens, the camera just pans around to different parts of the armory. And that would be really cool to see for weapon customization, but expanding on that idea that I had, I think that it could also be done for armor customization. Like, just as an example, if you were to swap out a shoulder pad, you could see the old one getting unscrewed and taken apart, and then you've just got the undersuit left behind, and then you select your new one, and that all happens in the background as you are selecting through the different options. I think that would be really cool, and this is just my own theory here. This is nothing confirmed, but I think that that would be great to see your Spartan getting physically upgraded as you go through the different levels and make your Spartan look cooler as you go. But then we're gonna have a bit of a shift, because a few months after the game is released, I predict we'll have probably spent most of our time through the game and have gotten through a fair chunk of the customization that's available on the base game. So that's where the seasons come in that we've been seeing with MCC that have been so successful. The idea of adding content constantly through as a live service DLC model that really is very popular these days for developers, because that means that they can just kind of give us a small amount at a constant drip feed. And whether or not that takes your fancy, you can't deny the fact that it is effective and it makes people get involved. Having said all of this, there's something I wanted to put out there, which is that customization has to have value. It has to have a certain level of status symbol with what you have earned. When you have customization like Halo 5, where anything can be earned at random, then you don't really have the status symbol of having certain things. And you also don't appreciate what you have, because you didn't work towards it, you were just given it at random. I, for one, barely spent any time on Halo 5, but I got a couple of rare assassination customizations which were really cool and I was really happy with. But because I unlocked it at random, you lose the status symbol, and I think that's a huge loss because that's something that really matters to Halo customization. Inclement weather in Halo Reach days? Oh man, if I saw anyone with inclement weather, then it is that John Wick moment where it's like, this is a man of focus, commitment, and sheer will, because you know the amount of work that goes into unlocking that. So I feel as if having progression that everyone has to go through the same steps is required, and I definitely think that's what we're going to get. But how does all of this work with armor coatings? Because when we first heard about armor coatings, there was a rumor that certain coats would need to be paid for and they wouldn't be available just as a straight up challenge. I think that is a huge contradiction to what we've seen with Season 6, and I really hope that with it being so recent, that's a sign that 343 has heard our community feedback and that they have basically taken it on board. I really hope that is the case, because I don't want microtransactions even if they are just for cosmetics. I think that customization in Halo has always been something in the past where it has a lot more individuality and it's all based on how much effort and hard work you put into it, and seeing it change into a paid ability to just look cooler, I think that's the wrong move. As far as the coatings go, I think there's going to be a fair bit of variation. I think there's going to be a lot of options available. To keep the classic old school Halo fans happy that don't want to change with the coating system, then I think it would be a fair idea to have all of the normal colors available to you from the beginning. And then the other coatings, which are a bit fancier, they have their own designs and things like that, they can be worked towards through normal progression, and that way everyone is happy. But that's just what I think. One other point I wanted to talk about was if Spartan customization should be reeled in a little bit, because Ubernick started to mention the idea in one of his videos that some of the customization you can do in Halo in MCC these days is pretty wacky compared to what we started out with for the original games. Look, it's a fair point, but you can always make customization wacky if you want it to. And at the end of the day, that comes down to the developers. Like, Reach had the birthday confetti option for when you die, and that's wacky as well. If I have a blue warthog in MCC, I'm perfectly fine with that, but if I have a rainbow warthog that is fluoro and flashing lights, then I think that is a bit too far. And so that's the job of the developers and the people who design these things, to make sure that it's not going beyond what it should be. But I think that's a fair place to call it for today. So that's my thoughts on Halo Infinite's customization and what we might be seeing. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below, and I'll catch you all on the next one. I've been Kiv, and I'm out.